Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Lindsay.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share and get to know you better.
Absolutely. You were one of the first supporters of my online campaign. You raised your hand to say, yes, I would be happy to support the work you're doing, Lindsay. And it felt so huge and so warming. And that campaign has brought so much learning. But I just wanted to thank you up front for being one of the people to believe in it early on, and to have connected with you in that way has felt really special to me. So thank
Oh,
you.
you're doing such special work, so I had to acknowledge that.
Thank you. So, having said that, I'm really excited to have you on today and to be introducing you to the tribe. You're doing such great work in the world, and I would love to just invite you to share your story a little bit and tell us about your work.
Sure, I'd love to. Well, my story really starts, by my mid 40s.
Okay.
And my mid 40s, I woke up and had to look at myself in the mirror, and it wasn't a pretty sight looking back at me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who that person was.
Mm-hmm.
I was very ashamed of who I had become.
Yeah.
I realized that I had a major problem with alcohol.
Yeah.
I was in a marriage that I could no longer stand to be in. And I really just had to take a good, strong look at that.
Yeah.
And, I think it's like with anything in our lives, we just have to make a decision
Yeah.
to make a change.
Yes.
And so that was a big, huge change, but it just had to be done. So I just had gotten to that, if you want to call it that bottom,
Mm-hmm.
I had definitely hit it. And I had a young teenage daughter, and, I just couldn't even stand to see me that way because it was so disappointing, I know, for her. We were super close.
Yeah.
So, I just had to make a big change in my life. So I did. I won't go into all of that. It's a big, long story, and
Sure.
obviously, a big, long process. But, a year after that, I did leave my marriage as well. And then that really started on my journey to wellness.
Yeah.
I ended up taking a detox class. I just sort of decided to go on this life of adventure, more adventure, more trying new things, experiencing new things in life. And somebody brought up this detox that she was doing. She was at a workshop I was in, and I thought, wow, that sounds really interesting. I think I'm gonna jump in and try that. And it really changed my life
Amazing.
because I got into a process of learning. She was just a font of information. I learned so much about food. I learned especially about what foods didn't agree with me that I'd never thought of.
Right.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, the weight was coming off, and I just started feeling so much better. And then people started coming to me and saying, "Hey, what are you doing? What's going on here?" And as they started to see my food choices change, and I was making these like huge, fabulous salads, and it was like, wow, that looks so good. What are you doing? And it was just a progression. I was an interior designer. I still am. I've been an interior designer for 25 plus years. But I just had a newfound passion, and that was all about, just what we put in here,
Yes.
it changes everything here.
Yes.
So I made another large change. I decided to move to LA from the Bay Area. And I knew then I was going to develop some more changes as well. So I went to nutrition school,
Wonderful.
and so here I am. I'm a board certified holistic health coach, and I also teach people about wellness throughout their life, not just about food. But food is a special passion. I've always loved to cook, so I'm always posting recipes and things. People probably know me mostly for food.
That's wonderful. I didn't realize we had that in common. Moving from the Bay Area, I'm in the Central Coast, and we're on the same coast. We've been doing a lot
Right?
of these interviews, and we've talked all the way to India and Europe and New York. So it's so fun to know that we're both sitting on the same little corner of the earth right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have other themes that are in common, in terms of sometimes how the challenge in our life accelerates or gets louder until we make the big change we haven't really been wanting to look at. And
Yes.
then also I think we have in common that sometimes just making that change isn't the end all be all either. We still have the work and the
Oh, it's
awareness
just the
piece.
beginning.
It's just
Yeah,
the
just
beginning,
the
right?
beginning. And that's what,
Yeah.
that is so funny when I coach other people with major adversities too.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to always describe it, but it's like you have no idea how much your world is going to open and expand and get better, even though right now you feel like it's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Not knowing what's around the corner, but following some inner drive that it can be better and that
Yes.
you want, as you said, especially modeling for our children, holding out and pursuing that thing we know is better. I also love what I heard you say, and I want to get into detox because I know you have a lot to share there, but I also heard you say something that I really love, which is that it's not just about stripping things away, it's about adding in the things that feel good and bring joy and feel aligned. And so before we get into detox, how do you help the people that you coach open to bringing in that good stuff when we can be so mired in the adversity when it's going on?
Right, I know. And oh, woe is me, and oh my gosh, what am I going to do next?
Right.
You know what? I really, it comes down to just little baby steps, just finding out what is it. It's trying to open up. What is it you really want? What are the things in life that just, bring you delight? And when we can kind of start finding those little things, even if it's the most minute little piece at the beginning, just finding somebody that loved to dance perhaps way back when. Or I have one client that said, I used to rock my heels and I'd love to be able to put on a pair of high heels again and dance around the room. And I'm like, that's what we're going to do then. We're going to get you there. So sometimes it's just finding that one little nugget that just, lights you up inside and you want more of that.
Yep, and then we can focus on growing that and the other stuff starts to kind of fall away.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting this picture in my mind that your life can become that big, vibrant bowl, that salad that you're talking about, and how then we model that by, living it and creating it and sharing it. So tell me a little bit about detox, because I know you have a special place in your heart. I know you just shared that it was a piece of your transformation, and I know you're also bringing that forward to your clients and also through your coaching.
Right. Well, when I say detox, I know I could also say cleanse. They're slightly different, but I think people interchange them, and frankly, so do I. Detox can be kind of a scary word for some people, so sometimes I try to soften it. But I am talking really about a super clean way of eating. So I am not talking about a fast. I'm not talking about deprivation in any way. I am talking just about, just taking all of that processed, prepared, white stripped food away. Okay, so there's one time I say, okay, that has to go, right? I mean, I'm all about adding things in, but there are just some things that need to go away. And so all those processed foods really don't belong in a joyful life. Because they certainly are not going to make you joyful. And if it's not happening right now, eventually it will. So we get rid of all of that, but then we just add in the most beautiful, vibrant, delicious food, and your palate starts to change. At first, I will admit, sometimes it can taste a little bland because you're used to, a very over-processed, hyper flavored food. Because, obviously the manufacturers purposely do that. And that's all that chemical, garbage storm that we need to get out of our lives. But we're just going to add in really, really good things so that we can release the toxins. Our fat cells just love to store all that stuff. And that stays in our cells. So we need to release those toxins. Because even though your body detoxes all the time, it has to, it needs to, and it does, and it does a fairly decent job. We're just living in a world that our bodies were never meant to handle.
Right.
So, even if like I'm eating clean, well, still I live in LA. I mean, there's still a ton of toxic environmental, fumes and dust and all of that, it's still going to enter my life. I can't live in a bubble, right?
Right, right.
So
None of us can. So that
yeah.
is the balance I think we strike in making the conscious choices where we can,
Mm-hmm.
and beginning to see that positive shift over time. So tell me what some of the benefits and kind of the exciting things you see happening for people when they
Well,
start to make these changes.
yeah. The quick things that happen is that belly bloat usually goes away like in a matter of a couple, 2, 3 days. Usually people's skin starts to glow or certainly clear up and get much healthier pretty quickly. So those are a couple of just fast changes.
Sure.
But the one that I love to see, because I work a lot with food and mood, is people's moods start to change. They actually, and it's a pretty scientific fact that as you start eating more real food, as you start eating things that serve your body and your brain a whole lot better, you start getting happier.
So great, isn't it?
So there's just more joyfulness. So some of that stress and anxiety actually starts to release, and you just start feeling better.
And it's amazing to watch that unfold, because there's this perception we have that we have to take something to get something, or work really hard, or it's going to be painful, or we brace ourselves. And what you're describing, what I've seen to be true as well, is that sometimes it's in the softening and releasing and allowing that all that good stuff starts to come in, and those benefits of your skin, but more importantly, the mood. I didn't have to, I didn't have to fight or force myself to meditate or whatever to release that anxiety, but it comes in through an open window, and that's such a refreshing thing.
Right. And I do stress to all of my clients to make time every day, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, to do something for yourself that feels really good. So it doesn't have to be a monetary thing. It can just be sitting down with a nice cup of tea, creating that little sanctuary that you can just sit and relax in. If you want to meditate, great. If you want to do some yoga moves, great. But maybe you just want to sit and be still. A bath with some great essential oils in it. I'm a nut about those. So just doing something nice and special that you can kind of slow down, relax, and enjoy every single day.
Wow. So if you were to say that was your one thing, would that be the one thing you would recommend to people if they could only do one thing to create that shift or get unstuck and moving towards whole wellness?
I think so. I think I mean, there's lots of information you can get about other things, but I think if you could just create a little space in your home that is yours, that you just feel really good at, and then just sit and be still. Just have a nice enjoyable time there.
And it all can grow from there. I love it. So I know that you have some specials around your detox program right now, and I'm going to link to those because we're recording this right around Thanksgiving. So we have a gratitude offer with your detox.
Yes.
And tell us again your website.
Okay, well, my main website is www.SharonOtness, and that's OTNESS.com. And my main website, actually, you can pick up a little freebie there, too. There's an ebook there, What's for Breakfast. So I love to, get people to eat some breakfast, something when you wake up in the morning. So there's some great recipes there. But for the detox, it has a special link, and that is RevUpYourRadiance.com.
Oh, how beautiful. That's wonderful.
Because I want everybody to live a really radiant life, and you will start to glow after you do this 11-day detox. And it is a gratitude special of only $59 through the end of December.
Wow,
it's a deal.
Wonderful. Well, and I want to encourage everyone to go to your website. You can feel the glow and you can feel the sparkle just by being there. It's a beautiful place, and I just want to thank you for all you've instilled in your work and in your brand. And I hope that we can stay in touch and share more of these into the new year.
Oh, I hope so too, Lindsay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Take care.
Take care.